Hi. Almost bedtime. Thought we would have a little talk while I got ready for bed. So, I've been thinking a lot. And one of the things that has been bothering me so much lately, and you're going to hear a word that I made up, and it's called othering. And it's whenever I lack a verb for something, I make up a verb. Othering is the process of making someone an outsider or making them other. And for me, it's like a process that human beings do all the time. We do it within our groups, we do it outside of our groups, in our religions, everywhere. We do it with our friends. Everybody has that friend that's like the scapegoat. Oh my God, I hate hanging out with Cheryl. She is such a, whatever we want to call her. I'm going to try to keep it PC and, really, really nice. It's just like if you don't agree with someone's argument about something, instead of arguing the argument, we fall into the fallacy of straw man and, consider the company. Like, for instance, oh, of course she's a feminist. Look at her, she's such a whale. Oh my God, I can't believe that person's arguing that. Consider the company. Of course they're arguing for justice reform. They're criminals. And we other them. We do it with people on the street that we see and, they're poor and they're asking for help. And we're like, oh, well, of course they're just looking for drugs or they're looking for alcohol. They can't possibly be looking for food or shelter or real help, or a mother who has kids who needs help. Well, she shouldn't have had that many kids if she couldn't afford them. Well, we don't know what the circumstance was when she had her kids. And also, some of the people who are saying this, ironically, are driving around with bumper stickers that say, termination stops a beating heart. So does their care for that child stop after it's actually born? Then we have the people who within the group are othering the people that are inside the group. Someone at church, I'm saying a lot. I get that. Someone at church, doesn't agree with you. All of a sudden, they're not a good Christian. They're not good enough. We shouldn't like them. We shouldn't invite them to the next Bible study or the agreement study, because we all have to agree on what's here or the interpretation of what's here, because we can't possibly have an actual discussion about the information that that we're going over. We have to have an agreement. We don't have discussions anymore. We only bring people together for agreement. If we ask people to come over, we want to have just a nice, lively agreement. I used to go to friends' houses and we would have lively discussions where people would take up different sides of an argument, maybe even a side they didn't support. And we would all discuss it and look for, flaws in the reasoning, because being able to do that was a sign of intelligence and the ability to, really discuss what was going on in the modern day. But nobody's questioning anymore, and nobody wants to discuss what's going on. And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to call you names, and I'm going to attack your character, and I'm going to look for what makes you other than me. So othering is like a human condition, where even when we're little and in school, if someone's slightly different, they get teased or bullied or pushed out of the group. We other transgender and gay and questioning people. We other people who have a different religion than us. And as I said, we other people in the same religion who have the same beliefs as us, as long as their beliefs aren't as extreme or who are more extreme than us. We are busy othering people instead of coming together. This othering has got to stop. It's like this primal need inside us to work with people and tell them how different they are from us. Even in ostracized groups, there's this othering that happens. We turn to somebody and say, oh, you're not this enough. I've seen it in the LGBT community where someone is bisexual and they're not, well, you can't be bisexual. You got to be one or the other. Are you just straight and you just want to be cool? I have actually seen that question asked. I've seen othering happen in communities of people on the outside so often, because when you get a subculture or a subgroup, they start to emulate the group that they're part of, that they're no longer part of. Sorry. They start to emulate the group that pushed them out. And they create these arguments as to who's in the hierarchy and who creates the rules, who's the coolest. It's like, how can we keep emulating the people that tell us we're not good enough? How can we keep becoming these people who we don't want to be? And then we have this whole argument over race, and people keep wanting to blame a system that is racist, that is systematically racist. That if you don't fit into it, if you're poor, if you're different, you are targeted. And nobody wants to stop and look at that system and say, wait, there's something wrong. The poor are convicted so much more than the wealthy, partially because your rights only count if you are able to defend them. But, you know, that's a discussion for a different time. I'm just going to try to focus on othering, but it's all part of it. You know, look at your kids. When they're out playing, they pick someone who's to blame for things. Scapegoating is othering. If you don't have kids, were you the kid that was the other? Were you in high school and you were told that you were so much different than everybody? Oh, look, I look kind of like Peg Bundy right now. Were you told that you weren't good enough? You know, we make sitcoms and shows that are totally unrealistic about othering. We watch the news and something horrible happens, and immediately we start into our judgment and our othering. Oh my God. You know, I totally would have listened to the cops. I would have, you know, he's just a criminal. He deserves whatever happens to him. You know, not that there was a systematic issue that was at play, but, you know, he was just this and he deserved it. But if it was your kid, would he have deserved it? If it was your child who was othered, would he have deserved it? Because when it happens to you, it's not as nice and it's not as cut and dry. You know, there's a lot of people, we other the mentally ill, we other the sick. Part of it comes from the lizard brain that tells us it's okay. Let's, you know, put them where they belong. Let's put them away. Let's push them out of the group. Let's teach our children to tell them that they're not okay from a young age. Because if we do that, then we push them out and they don't need to be part of it. But then we have kids who feel hopeless. They feel unloved. They feel unwanted. Bullying, anti-bullying things in school are just lip service. Nobody's actually stopping it. Nobody at home is saying, how would you feel if this happened to you? Hey, you know those kids at that table that feel like they don't belong? Reach out a hand, tell them they belong. Stop othering them. Stop telling them they're other than you. because we're all human beings. We're all fighting the same fight. We're all trying to make it in a world that is really too hard. And it's just getting harder the more we are pushed out, the more we are told we don't matter, the more that people don't reach out that helping hand. Next time you see a mother struggling to pay for her groceries for her kids, maybe you should not tell yourself, hey, she shouldn't have had so many kids. You know, if you're one of those people driving around with a Bible verse on the back of your car, maybe you should live that verse, not just put it on the back of your car. I know I'm probably going to get a bunch of hate, and, you know, people are going to critique how I look. I've lived, you know, long, hard 44 years. I've been othered most of my life. And I'm okay with that. I have lived a life where I have strove to be good. Because that's what's in me. Not because I'm worried that there's a parking ticket waiting on the other side. And before you call me an atheist, I believe in God. I just don't believe in that book that was written by man. So, I'm waiting for all your wonderful othering statements and, you know, you calling me whatever you're going to call me. Because if you can't win the argument with reason and logic, you're going to try to win it with slings and arrows. And I know I'm not wearing makeup because I'm getting ready for bed. And I'm okay with it. Because I'm okay with who I am. So, good night. I wish you well.